Hello everybody, this is 99 Korea here, and welcome back to some more combat initiation. And finally, the last one, the Trowel Tree. Or it could be the first video you watch, but for me, this is the last one to edit, so... In this video, we'll be going over the trowel, the hammer, and the wrench. And I can finally take a break from combat initiation. And so, let's get straight into it. First, the starter weapon.
Hey!
Oh, hello Fred. The trowel. The trowel is a secondary weapon, which you can get at the start of the game, or buy it later on. When using the trowel, you'll place down a wall that is 12 studs long, 5 studs high, and 2 studs wide. You can place a wall every 5 seconds, and the furthest away you can build one is 56 studs away. Also, these walls will not stay forever. They have a 25-second duration before they break and you sadly can't use it anymore. You can mostly use a trowel as a defensive maneuver from enemy projectiles, mostly stuff like guns, but you can use it offensively by bricking people, which all you need to do is build the wall on top of the enemy and they'll take 250 damage. Also, there's no lifesteal as it's a secondary weapon, but that's not all. If you have a weapon that explodes, for example the rocket launcher, you can break the wall yourself by setting off an explosion right next to it, and if there's any enemies around, they will take 150 damage, but only up to 9 enemies. Also, for example, if an enemy shoots a projectile that explodes, you can use that as well. Talking about fragmentation, damage modifiers, which is mostly used by fragmentation. So the first one, we get less damage. The trooper will take 33% damage, the giant will take 125% more damage, and the cannon will take 200%. Also, the wiki says that the emerald blasters and the marks take more damage, but sadly that's just not the case. I mean, hey, you can use the wall to take cover from the marks at least. And now on to reactions and synergies. First, the super ball and the cannonball. You're welcome, Kosis. If you have a trowel wall and you throw a super ball at it, the super ball / cannonball will bounce directly into the closest enemy, and it will go straight for them no matter the angle. It is also the same with the ninja stars, but as well it will pierce through the enemy and continue going, plus it makes a nice sound. Next is the BB gun. When you're ready to fire your ricochet laser, you can shoot it at the wall and it'll go straight for an enemy's head, or at least I think that's what's gonna happen. Again, it seems inconsistent when I do it, so... Anyway, next the freeze ray. If you charge up the freeze ray and hit the trowel wall, it will make it explode and kill enemies around it. Just to tell you now, if you freeze the enemies around, then place the wall, and then explode the wall, you will kill more enemies. Also, if enemies are not frozen, there's a chance that they will be frozen by exploding the wall with the freeze ray. Next is the rocket launchers, and I mean all 3. Of course, when you have a trowel wall, fire a rocket at it and it will explode, and the bricks will hit enemies, killing at least 9. This is the standard fragmentation, by the way. And yes, all 3 rocket launchers does this. And you know what also does this? All the bombs. But I would not recommend using the trowel with this. I recommend the hammer, but that's for the hammer section. And yes, all 3 bombs do the same thing. Next is the scatter blaster. When charged up to level 5 and you shoot the wall will explode, imbuing the enemies with plasma and will make them explode. And if you know how plasma explosion works, it will chain react. So, quite some devastating stuff with this scatter blaster and trowel. Next, we're now onto gears. The reflector. To be honest, it was kind of difficult to get the trowel with this, but if you charge up the reflector and release, if the wall's nearby, it will explode, and of course, the enemies nearby will get hit by the bricks. Next is the grappling hook. If you shoot the grappling hook to a wall, you will grapple towards that wall. And it's like a temporary grapple point, but as well only when the wall is built. If it breaks, well, you can't grapple on it anymore. And now finally, the slate skin potion. Now this is a very unique case, as the further you fall with the slate skin slam, and of course you must hold the trowel, the bigger the wall will be. And depending on how big it is, of course the wall itself is big, but also the damage. The maximum wall size you can do with the slate skin potion is 4 times bigger, which is 48 studs long, 20 studs high, and 8 studs wide. And when you make it explode, it will do 1200 damage. And just in case you're wondering, it has the same duration when you build it, so only 25 seconds. And now, trowel versus enemies. First, we would like to discuss the kill bot. It's absolutely hilarious when they fire a rocket at your wall and instantly die. is even more effective with the hammer, but we have to wait until we get to the hammer section. And also the cannons, as they explode the wall when they're near them, and of course take a lot more damage. And finally, Vagabond. If you can predict where he's moving when he's rolling around, place a wall to him and he will be tricked. But also, if you have a sword, a rocket launcher, and a trowel, you can parry him with the sword, then fire a rocket launcher, and then brick him. You'll do a lot of damage, and also get this nice achievement. And now, onto my own opinion. Okay, the trowel is okay. Compared to its upgraded counterparts, it sadly doesn't stand on its own, as the hammer can do everything but more, and better. And the wrench is, well, we'll get to that one soon. But if you use the trowel by itself, you can't really do much. It really relies, and mostly all the other Trowel Tree weapons, relies on other weapons for its maximum potential. Well, it is a secondary after all, makes sense. And I got really nothing much to say, just it's a small wall, you can hide behind it to take cover from enemy fire, make it explode with explosions and as well enemy explosions, and I guess the best weapon to use with the trowel is the scatter blaster, and as well the ninja stars and or super ball cannonball. But hey, if you want to use the trowel, go right ahead. If you want to be a complete madman, there's this one guy who played the entire game, stage 1 to stage 4, with just the trowel, and it took him 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you want to see that run, link in the description. But here's the real question. Got any visors? And now on to the next weapon. The next weapon, the hammer. It's real! The hammer is an upgrade of the trowel, and it costs 150 ticks. The hammer can make up to 6 structures, and I'll call them levels from now. The first 3 levels, you can be able to do that normally by placing the level 1 wall, and if you constantly hit it, you'll get up to level 2, then level 3. For level 4, 5 and 6, you need the slate skin potion, where depending on how far you fall with the slate skin potion with the hammer equipped, and you can get 4, 5 and 6. So let's go over the stats for every single level. Level 1, when placing it down, or using the pocket, which I'll tell you later, will do 200 damage. If you make the wall explode, it will do 150 damage. The duration without repair will be 30 seconds, and the range is 50 studs, mostly using the green. While building is placed, you can press the alt fire, and it will pocket that structure, and you can use it for a future use, even through stages. So this is how you brick people with the other levels. Anyway, level 2. When bricking people, it does 400 damage. When making it explode, it will do 300 damage, and its duration is 50 seconds. By the way, when you're trying to place it, the green outline is your distance. So yeah, they're always 50 studs, no matter how far. Now, level 3. This is the highest you can get with the hammer alone. And so bricking people does 600 damage. When exploding it, it'll do, again, 600 damage, and its duration will be 75 seconds. But as well, it could be longer if you just keep hitting the wall with your hammer. Green means full health, and red means it's about to be broken, because you cannot upgrade level 3 to 6. So now, on to level 4, which you need the slate skin potion, and it will build immediately when you hit the ground. So, bricking people will do 500 damage, exploding the wall will also do 500 damage, and it will last 60 seconds. Do note, when first building the level 4 to 6 walls, it will build straight at your feet, but when you pocket and want to place it, you'll be able to get up to 50 studs away, and that's towards the green wall, by the way. Anyway, next is level 5. You need some distance when falling with a slate skin potion, but as follows. Bricking people will do 700 damage, the fragmentation will also do 700 damage, and the building will last 80 seconds without repair. And now finally, level 6. You have to go pretty high for this one, but if you do make it, when bricking people, it'll do 900 damage. When making it explode, it'll do 1000 damage, and will last for 100 seconds without repair. And I completely forgot, every time you place a wall down, especially a level 1 wall, it will take 5 seconds to be able to place another. Now onto damage modifiers, and this is again from the fragmentation. Troopers take 33% damage, Giants take 125% damage, and cannons will take 200% damage. And that should be it. There's got to be more to the hammer, right? Actually, you know what, Vagabond? That's a really nice attack. Let me show you how appreciated I am. Ooh boy, this is going to be fun. So with the hammer, you can pocket enemy and your own projectiles. And what I mean by your own, for example, if you have a bomb with multiple imbues, you can pocket it and it will keep its imbues so you can use it later. There's probably more, but I kind of want to talk about the enemy projectiles rather than your own, which is to say, you can. So, all the projectiles that you can pocket are the Gunman's Pulse Laser, the Emerald Blaster's Scatter Blaster, the Trooper's Rifle Shot and the Trooper Rocket, the Killbot's Rockets, the Cannon Molter, the Wizard's Spark, the King's King Molter, the Captain's Bullet F, Bullet B, and Gunpowder Barrel, Vagabond's Gale Slash and Revengeance, and the Great Dark Roblox's Mega Rocket. And it's like how you reflect enemy projectiles with the sword, but do remember you can only pocket one thing at a time. This includes walls. And now after all that, reactions and synergies. It's literally the same thing as the trowel, but we'll go over them anyway. And so, of course, the hammer and slate skin, as you wouldn't be able to get level 4, level 5 or level 6. Or the super ball tree, where you can use it to bounce straight into the closest enemy, no matter what the angle. The freeze ray, as you can freeze enemies, and as well, use the charge up to be able to explode the walls. You can use all 3 rocket launchers on these structures. Same thing with all the bombs. The hammer and scatter blaster, especially level 5 with the plasma reaction you can make. And this is where I recommend the reflector, as building the level 3 wall is pretty good with the reflector to kill a lot of enemies around. And as well, you can grapple hook no matter what level you have. And now the hammer versus enemies, yeah, it's probably the same thing. But yeah, kill bots and cannons just make me laugh, to be honest. And now, my own opinion. Let me just say this, if you like the trowel and you want it to be a bit better, the hammer is 100% the upgrade for you. It can do everything that the trowel can do with bigger walls, and you can upgrade those walls. And of course, upgrading them makes them better, and you can be able to use them more effectively. And also, you can save those walls and or enemy projectiles, and be able to reuse them to defeat enemies a lot easier. Or you accidentally build somewhere and you just need to replace it. But I'll say, that pocket thing is very good on its own. But also, with the bigger walls, you'll be able to kill a lot more enemies consistently faster. Just upgrading them takes a while, especially to level 1 to level 3. And repairing them does take a bit itself, and you can be occupied while you're completely surrounded by enemies and can take a lot of damage. But as well, not to say that the hammer is useless against bosses and bigger enemies, as stuff like pocketing their enemy attacks can prove very useful. Overall, the hammer is a great secondary weapon where you can tear to shreds with small enemies, but you can give the bosses a surprise when you fire their own projectiles right back at them. And so, build a big beautiful wall and make the noobs pay for it. Now on to the last weapon of this video. Now the final weapon, the wrench. Another upgrade of the trowel, and it costs 200 ticks. The wrench, instead of placing a wall, it will place a sentry, which you cannot upgrade, but you can heal it by throwing the wrench at the sentry. The sentry has 150 health. You can place it within a 10 stud range, and its targeting range is 200 studs. Its duration is 30.80 seconds, that's if you do not heal the sentry or it takes damage, and it will take 1.10 seconds to construct. When you do spawn the sentry, if you spawn it on top of an enemy, it will do 350 damage. The sentry per shot will do 75 damage, and as well, if your sentry is surrounded by a bunch of noobs, for example, and as well taking a lot of damage, because the enemies will target the sentry if you're not nearby, you can press the alt fire and will explode, doing 450 damage. Do note when exploding the sentry, it will take 3.50 seconds to reconstruct the sentry. But if an enemy defeats the sentry or just explodes naturally, it will take about 10 seconds before you'll be able to reconstruct a new sentry. And just to tell you now, the sentry does not lifesteal for you. And that's everything that the sentry does by itself, of course, without any other weapons. So just quickly, damage modifiers. Compared to normal enemies, it does less damage against greater enemies and bosses. So best not to use the sentry when a boss or a greater enemy is around. or should I say solely rely on it. But now onto reactions and synergies. So with the Sentry, you can imbue it with other elements, except for Plasma, because the developers don't feel like it. So the Sentry and the Firebrand, when imbuing it, its shooting damage will do 113 damage instead of 75, and when you explode it, it will do 675 damage. And of course, it will increase its firing rate, and as well burns enemies when shooting them. Next is the Sentry and Freeze Ray. When enchanting your Sentry with ice, you don't have to charge it by the way, the shooting damage does 113 damage, and when you make it explode, it will do 427 damage. Also, every shot you have a chance to freeze the enemy, and if the Sentry keeps firing, you'll be able to use the Deep Icebreaker effect, and that does a lot of damage by itself. But imbuing the Sentry with ice does make the fire rate a lot slower. Next, the Sentry and electricity. To be able to even get electricity, you need a wizard by using its bolt attack or its death explosion. But when it does imbue with the Sentry, its shooting damage does the same, 75 damage, but its exploding damage does 900 damage, and also its detection range and explosion will be 2 times bigger. And compared to the other imbuements, the electricity imbue will stay until the Sentry's destruction, so you don't have to constantly get a wizard to die near your Sentry, as that will be very frustrating. Next, synergy will be with the Ninja Star's kunai. When you place the kunai on Sentry, it will make a funny noise, and it will be incredibly less accurate. With the shooting damage does 113 damage, the explosion will be 2 times bigger, and it will do 900 damage, and its fire rate will be significantly faster. And of course, you can combine all these imbuements together, and you can make the ultimate Sentry. But there is one more thing to talk about, and that is the grappling hook. Of course, you can use the grappling hook to grapple towards your Sentry, and I guess an example, you can use it as a grapple point, and or if your Sentry is taking damage, by the way it does notify you if it is taking damage or is at low health, you can quickly grapple onto it, repair it, and then go back to what you were doing. But yeah, that's the Sentry, but there should be more than just the Sentry, right? Ooh, the wrench itself. If you thought it was just the Sentry, we'll have a complete culture shock, which the wrench is very good. And you know it's very good because I changed the music. So the wrench, when you throw it at an enemy, it will do 200 damage. But if you headshot, it will do double that, so 400 damage. When you do throw the wrench, there is a bit of an arc, so just a heads up. And of course the wrench does not lifesteal. It is a secondary weapon after all. The range is dependent on how far you throw, but the wiki says 383 studs. Where every time you throw the wrench, you have to wait 2 seconds to throw another. So why am I saying that the wrench is very good? The wrench can parry, so any yellow flashes you can parry with the wrench. Again, you do need to time it and it's pretty difficult, but it is quite satisfying hearing that beautiful noise. But that's not all. You can parry enemy projectiles as well. And if you do master these parrying and reflecting techniques, you can defeat nearly all the enemies with just the wrench alone. But in other words, anything that the sword can parry and reflect, the wrench can also do that. So now onto damage modifiers. We have a couple, finally. Noobs take 200% damage. Gunmen and Emerald Blasters do take 150% damage. Marks take 140% damage. And the Cannons doesn't take as much, but takes 75% damage. By the way, it makes a unique sound like you're repairing them by accident. And now, onto reactions and synergies, which there's only 2 that I've found. Sad, which first of all, the wrench with the Sentry, same weapon by the way, and all it does, it just heals the Sentry. And now the wrench with the guns, and yes, all 3. If there's a wrench that you miss, or just laying on the ground, if you shoot that wrench that's on the floor, it will create a grape shot. The best way I can describe it is like a mini metal explosion, so having a wrench on the ground isn't useless, as you can clearly capitalize if an enemy is nearby. And now the wrench versus enemies. First of all, again that wrench being on the ground, if a wizard decides to use their lightning bolt attack, you'll be able to countercast the wizard, dealing half of its health. So the slingshot is not the only one that can do this. Wish I knew that earlier. Next enemy is the killbot. Although the Sentry itself is very good against killbots, as you can shoot the killbots from the sky, if you hit one of the rockets they fire, you can be able to do a dual velocity on that rocket and hopefully kill the killbot as well, and any surrounding killbots, if they're surrounding you of course. Next is the stage 3 boss, Vagabond. And oh my god, you can give Vagabond the biggest middle finger ever, as you can parry his yellow flashes, and also do a dual velocity to his Revengeance attack. So that means you can beat Vagabond with just the wrench, and make him his bitch while you're at it. Next is the Mark. Enough said. And then finally, the Great Darko Bloxer, as his gigantic swings that you can parry with a sword, which you don't have to worry, because you can just use the wrench and parry it anyway. And wow, after 7 minutes, my own opinion, I think the wrench is the best weapon out of the three, mostly because of the wrench itself and not the sentry. But let's quickly talk about that sentry. It is very good when it comes to small enemies, but it can get surrounded very quickly, and is a very good support tool, as you can sweep up small enemies in one area where you're on the other side of the map. But the wrench itself is the star of the show, as again doing 200 damage normally, while it can parry and reflect projectiles, and plus you don't have to be close, you can do it far away as well. And something I forgot to mention, when you do parry you do get lifesteal, and it's the only time you can get lifesteal from the Trowel Tree, so do it while you can. But the only weakness to the wrench is that 2-second cooldown, and as well you gotta kinda arc it when throwing the wrench far away to hit an enemy, but that's mostly it. Overall, the wrench can be used as a primary weapon, and the sentry can be used as a backup if you do not want to fight alone. But you can have the sentry be the main focus if you want to, and yes, both are good. And now, the quote. There you have it, and that is the end of the video. And there it is. It's all done. All 7 trees complete. So now what? First of all, I do not want to do combat initiation until stage 6 becomes a thing, or act 1 is fully playable. But I might do a basic guide, but I want a quick break from combat initiation, as I've been doing it for like 5 months. I probably could have done all the videos in a month, but as well I got real life stuff to worry about. And some other things. Maybe one of them is a future video, who knows. So, what comes next? So first, we'll have a poll of what game should I do a guide on. Either continue with Piggy or anything else. While the poll is on, I'll try and get the Discord server, as I keep saying. And when's the poll? Tomorrow after this video uploads. So hopefully most of you who watch the video will vote on it, as your votes matter. And hopefully get consistent views again, like I have been with these combat initiation videos. Either way, I'll just wrap this up. So, thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. When the Discord server is up, I'll let you know. And bye. Have a great time.